but I am casting the Division 3 game of the league that for Terra Mystica Tuesday League, the league that I'm in. But this was my bye week, so I'm just going to cast everyone's game without discussing my own decisions. We've got Fatty, Matt, Age, and Red Alert. Looks like the game is still being set up at the moment, and I'm going to go right to it. Okay, Age is in the first seat picking a faction here. Taking a look here, we notice that the ship scoring tile isn't in the game, but it is late trading post, so it's going to be high scoring. Generally, like these late trading posts imply a high scoring type of game. We also see Earth coins early on, and 3 of the other pass tiles in. So I think that this is going to be like quite a nice high scoring game. In terms of the setup, we are on the Fire and Ice map, which is pretty interesting. Don't necessarily always see a ton of that. There's no endgame scoring from the Fire and Ice expansion. And are there landscapes? Landscapes are on for this game. Okay. So Chaos Magicians are quite good on this map. They can start D7 or E2 generally. That gives them like a nice central type of location for Leech. This here is like a nice bridge town from E2 to G5. G7 can afford nice expansion opportunities if they can get it. Chaos Magicians love taking 2 favors early on, so they could get like Earth 2, Earth 1, hit this coin reward. They could also have a good chance at hitting this reward. I think it's all quite nice, and if they manage to spread out well enough, like during these mid rounds to like dwelling rounds, then they could get a lot of points on the round 6 trading posts as well. We have Cultists and Alchemists in the next 2 seats. Alchemists are kind of, so Hard Diggler put in Alchemists. Alchemists are generally one of the weakest factions on this map. This is like almost certainly Alchemist's weakest map. Like they just don't have like a lot of good hexes that they can ship to, right? They can have 1 ship and 1 dig to get these hexes over here, and then they might be able to like dig through this stuff if they could get D6 somehow. Like if they could start D5 and like double dig B5, B3, D6 or something, then they could have like a nice like worker start. But as alchemists, you really want to just like spread out your dwellings. Cultists, I do like a good deal more. If you do get D7 Chaos Magicians, which it's honestly looking like it might be more like E2. The neighbor situation here is actually looking pretty interesting. Alchemists presumably are going to start E3 this game, so that they can get a good neighbor with Chaos Magicians. But cultists don't have like an obvious neighbor spot yet. Like they like D8, they like C3. Well, with witches tossed in, cultists are very happy because now they have C4 and E4 as like great spots. So my guess here is that, you know, like 10th ship is in the game, the spade is in the game, the 2 workers are in the game. Like this is a great game for witches. So I do expect that witches are going to be the first faction we bid on here. I'd be pretty surprised if it went otherwise. Witches are also going to start double center, so they're going to have like just incredible leech with possibly cultists here, maybe almost certainly cultists here, very likely alchemists here. Chaos Magicians are probably starting on E2, so alchemists, if they do start E3, are going to have nice leech as well. It's actually not clear like how I would open here. As witches. Like 10th ship is always very strong, but the spade is also just quite good. So it could be the type of game where you take the spade tile and then you try to get the first priest power action, and then you're starting C4 e4, use the priest to advance your ship, and then you go trading post and then build out e5, d9, a6, g6, which sets up like a lot of town opportunities. There's also reason to think that witches might want a temple opening here, if they can get this heir spade in round 2. Like a temple for heir 2 will be a very nice type of like economic game. It's actually just kind of tough when there's so many different options available to you. Red Alert is taking some time to decide which faction to bid on. That makes sense. All right. I am eating some food, and yeah, it looks like people are not agreeing necessarily with this Chaos Magician's bid. They are agreeing that witches are the best, which is not too surprising. Now we see Matt moving over to Chaos Magicians and also competing with Red Alert here. It does seem like these two just might naturally be the best two factions simply because they don't have a color neighbor here. Cultists, I think, are a very strong faction on this map, and in a vacuum, I would say that they're better than Chaos Magicians on, like, with this setup. They're going to have better Earth coins. They can do, like, a double temple Earth 1, Earth 2 type of, like, try some sort of action like that. They get great leverage out of shipping in these mid-rounds to build their dwellings. Like, Brown has some, like, the best shipping opportunities on this map. However, alchemists are very incentivized to dig this game. On this map, like, digging is just better for alchemists than trying to get around shipping. So they're going to take away a lot of rounds. Witches don't need to worry so much because, I mean, alchemists might dig blues, but, like, that's kind of okay for witches, right? Like, you don't actually need blues as witches this game. But yeah, for now, like, it does look like witches are by far the clear favorite. And I don't know how big the gap might get between these two guys. It is economic enough that, like, if alchemists can get their dwellings spread out somehow, that they can score big off of this trading post event, assuming that they manage to get, like, their stronghold out. It's also a coin type game. Other than these round 1 Earth coins, there are no coins to speak of on the pass tiles at all. The only way it could be lower scoring is if the ship scoring tile were in versus this. But, like, the 6 coins tile and the 4 coins tiles are missing. And, like, the early infusion of coins is actually, like, a little less good than, like, a late infusion of coins for people usually. There's also no TP scoring in the mid game. So people aren't heavily incentivized unless they're on this tile to build up a lot of TPs and get natural coin income. So I think passing first, fighting over the 4 coins tile is going to be important in this game. And I think that Fire 1 is going to be important in this game. We're going to see how this one plays out. I think that Cultists, like, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like which favor tiles get taken in round 1. It's going to be interesting to see like if Alchemists go for like a Stronghold, convert fewer strategy, or if they go for like the typical Temple or Earth 1, try to like build up a million stuff strategy. There's a whole arena season on this map, and yet Alchemists didn't get that much play simply because I don't think people ever quite figured out like what the best thing to do with them was. So the game chat is discussing a little bit about Chaos Magicians here. We have a spectator here with an alt named Act 6 is for Chumps. That's pretty interesting. Not sure who this might be within the community. A little discussion about how people hate giants, and Age saying that he would have bid Chaos Magicians if it weren't for the broken faction, which is Witches. I mean, that's pretty fair. Witches, like, famously are among the strongest factions on this map, especially with Mermaids not in the game. Mermaids are actually like probably the generic strongest faction on this map, but they're not in the game. So with no color neighbors, Witches are just going to have this easy time making 3 towns, winning network. I think that they can even beat Alchemists on network on this map when Alchemists have a color neighbor. Action has started on the Cultists. Cultists, I think their primary issue is going to be like, what are they competing for this game? Like, obviously they're going to compete for cults. They'll compete against Chaos Magicians. Are they going to race for the 2-key town? There is a town event in round 3. Now, Chaos Magicians may have tempo on that because they're going to get out their Sanctuary in round 1 or 2, and the Sanctuary definitely like provides you tempo for a town. However, Chaos Magician or Cultists should be extremely uncontested if they try to make this bridge town here. This bridge town is 3 digs and a bridge, but it's very simple expansion to get to. And there are lots of cult spades in the game. So if they can like get this type of territory, maybe like do some goofy like trading post in this round, then they could try to rush for the 2-key town as well. It's not clear if they'll need a 2-key town. And if not, then that means that they don't have to like kind of compromise by digging early, and instead they can just spread out more and then form their towns more efficiently later without having to invest a lot of spades early. Age has run out of time. Age is really undecided on which faction to bid on here. Not sure what's going on there necessarily. So part of the uncertainty here is we don't know what the pass tiles are going to be, so we actually don't necessarily know what round one will look like. There are actually 5 of the good round one pass tiles in this game. In general, I would consider like the best round one pass tiles to be like the most economic ones, aka the spade. You know, round one, like you don't have workers that you can hard dig with, so you like having the spade. You don't. That means you don't also need to compete less for like the only 2 spade power actions. Then there's worker power, which gives you like the extra worker is super helpful, and it also enables you to compete for the double spade more efficiently. None of these factions will be guaranteed the double spade by taking a power tile because they start with 7 instead of 9. So taking the worker power tile gives you an edge kind of in competing for the double spade if that's what you want. Though, of course, as we know, Act 6 is for chumps, so we don't know if anyone actually wants it. However, you know, generally, like, that's a good economic type of beginning. Temp ship is very useful if you have somewhere to ship to, and that might mean that for fewer digs, you get more natural hexes. In this case, I would be eyeing, like, Alchemists, for example, right? Say Alchemists get temp ship. With a single spade, they can get to, and if they're on D5, right? Let's say that Alchemists somehow get the double spade on temp ship, right? That means that they could take D6, B3, A3, C2, and E3, like all in one fell swoop. Now that's probably not going to happen. I actually kind of find it a little unlikely that Alchemists get the double dig here. But like if they took the temp shift, then they could angle for that line. The priest is always good in round one because you can send it like that gives you tempo on any of the cults that you want, and that cult can give you like immediate payoff. We talked about the benefits of being able to ship, like witches can ship this and this without even using a spade, right? The priest also lets you upgrade shipping early, and for a faction like alchemists who don't necessarily want to compete as much on the cults and don't necessarily get like that much out of these cult rewards, simply advancing your ship when like you don't care about coins is like a nice way if you have ways to use that shipping later. So that leaves the 2 workers tile. The 2 workers tile might be like the most powerful other than maybe the spade. Like if you need the 2 workers tile, then you need the 2 workers tile. First of all, 2 workers is just really good. But secondly, like it specifically enables you to like do build up strategies more effectively without like killing your worker economy, because you can like, you know, witches could do like stronghold and then still have enough to like single spade this guy down or something like that. You know, a lot of these like chaos magicians could use that 2 workers to make their stronghold. Alchemists might want to spend this game not converting as much because it's kind of coin tight, and then they just make their stronghold first or something. The 2 workers is what the alchemists need because they need a lot of workers to like accomplish any of their dreams. Cultists specifically, if they take the 2 workers tile, then I would be thinking like a double temple type of opening for cultists. Also extremely strong, we talked about it. Priest production is, you know, the cult rewards aren't as spectacular as always, but priest production is always nice when you're competing with cults against another culty faction and chaos magicians. It's also good for getting your shipping up. So I think that there's some play for cultists to take this as well. If I had to take a guess, I think that I would probably just take the spade as witches. The spade is just like generically the strongest tile, and any of these other factions would be like super thrilled to have the spade. Okay, so we do have everything settled. It looks like cultists are placing first. They're probably going to place D8 immediately. Yep, they do. I'd anticipate alchemists to place D5, E3, something to that effect. There's a world where you try H8 to like lure chaos down here, but I don't think that that's what we're going to see first. Yep, we do see E3. This beautiful little like leech spot for witches is crystallizing. Witches are probably going to place C4 here. It's a little tough to see them placing, like, I mean, they could go D3 or F3 or something. F3 is like a connection hex on 3 ship if they try to get this territory. D3 is nice because like you can kind of mess with people and like invite other stuff. But yeah, it is just C4. This is like the best leech spot in general. You kind of threaten D6 from alchemists. I don't know if alchemists particularly want it because they're connected on 3 ship, which they want to reach anyway. But like cutting D6 does like kill any dreams of a town here. But cultists do start C3. This is like a very typical kind of like super tight type of opening. Chaos Magicians are going to have to start E2, but it's not too much of an issue for them because they have easy expansion with either 1 ship or just taking a bridge. It's not clear which one they're going to prefer here. Witches go for 10th ship. Age does love him, like a Dwelling Rush opening, and this affords him the chance to maybe get the double spade, right? Because if alchemists upgrade and or cultists upgrade, then Age is going to get the 2 power that he needs to double spade A5, E5, and just build out 6 dwellings, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dwellings. Maybe it would still be just temple and then 4 of those dwellings and leave, and then build a TP and leave 1 of them open. Or it could be like 5 and then just keep a worker for this round when you make some trading posts. But it's pretty cool. And it does look like Age is going to get the double dig. No one else took the worker power tile. As I knew, like, there were 5 good opening tiles and one of them was going to be open. Red Alert decided as cultists to take the priest as opposed to the 2 workers. I'm not sure that I would have gone with the same idea, but like it's obviously defensible here. Over here, we see that with the opening, 3 people upgraded, and unsurprisingly, Age secures double dig. Surprisingly, though, Age decided to take D6. Now, it might be kind of obvious that this is like the right play because D6 actually, it just hurts other factions. It gets in a better spot for Leech. It seems really nice, and it doesn't really hurt Witches, right? This actually might enable Witches to get away with a game where they don't build their Sanctuary, because if you just have C4, A5, A6, then this is like a Sanctuary town. Now this can be a 4-hex town, and you can avoid building your Sanctuary ever. I do like that idea. Age gets in like heavy on the Leech party here. We'll get some from Chaos Magicians. Not sure if I love that upgrade location as opposed to like just building E5 and then getting some more Leech off of cultists. This gives a lot of other players a lot of Leech, and it's not clear that that's a good thing. But he did what he did. Looks like Alchemist took Earth 1. That makes sense. I mean, as Alchemist, you just really want Earth 1. You're going to build a ton of dwellings. You don't necessarily need another economic favor. It's very hard to like get as much value out of another economic favor as from Earth 1 when you essentially have infinite coins as Alchemists anyway. I guess like the argument is like you could take Earth 2 and juice your worker econ that way, but it's not clear that's great for Hard Diggler here. Hard Diggler does have the spade, which is pretty awesome. Hard Diggler, I would imagine 5 power priests here, and then uses the spade on either F4 or B3, probably B3. So sorry, that's a 5 power priest to advance shipping. That would enable him to build B3/A3 or C2. Good way to get worker econ going early, and it's very nice to get that, to be able to get this spade. That's like a pretty big break for Alchemists, I would say. Though, I mean, like, they are potentially like the weakest faction here anyway, so we'll see how well it pays off. Red Alert decided to kind of like stake his claim on the Earth Cult. It comes with good rewards. He is going for double temple. So now that we know that Red Alert is going double temple by taking those 2 workers, it kind of makes me feel like, you know, this was just the better call, taking these 2 workers. Because if we look at like what was gained economically, right? Red Alert could have taken that priest for 3 power, but instead took 2 workers for 4 power. Fatty took the priest for 3 power, but he could have been taking 2 workers for 4 power instead. But instead, he's getting a bunch of coins or a bunch of points off of this as well. So I do think that was probably a misstep by Red Alert if he was going to go double temple anyway to take that priest. Just my thought there. This priest is giving a lot of coins, but, you know, like, if he really does go Earth 1, Earth 2 here, or like Earth 2, Fire 1, then he was going to shoot up this track anyway. I imagine that like Age is going to take every point of leech that he can get here. So like these steps are going to be wasted if it's like Earth 2, Earth 1. In other words, like you could place it in other spots. Red Alert realizing that he has too many cult steps at this point. I imagine like we might see air or fire at this point instead of Earth. It's okay. He gains the step on Earth and then takes Earth 2. Makes sense. Earth 2 is going to allow better expansion. Earth 2 might also enable you to build a few more trading posts in this round without destroying your economy. So I'm not sure if this is like awkward or anything, but because Age chose to build here, he's not going to be able to build on both A6 and D9. I have to assume that D9 is is going to be more of a priority for Age than A5, but it's hard to say. D9 affords better expansion opportunities, but depending on when Fatty advances his ship, A5 could be more contested of a hex. So we're not sure which one Age will build on. Age also has like 3 power hanging out in Bowl 3. Might take the opportunity to just build an extra dwelling there. That would leave him very coin tight, so it's not clear that's going to happen. Meanwhile, we did see that Matt did what we expected. Dug B3, has his choice of A3 or C2. Doesn't really matter which one gets built first. Potentially C2, because that would afford a neighbor if Age decides to fly here, but I mean, he's going to build there before. Even if he built A3, he was always going to build to D3 before witches could upgrade to a stronghold and fly there. Age does decide to take D9 first. I assume that this is because this is like a better expansion opportunity. I also think that this is also better territory for forming an early town if that is what Age wants to do. I think there's a lot of reason to seek that. I wonder if like Age does like wacky stuff, like he loves playing economically, so we could see round 2 like maybe just 2 trading posts or something from Age. But we're probably looking at all of this. Age might just be passing here. Cultists did go double temple. We're going to see if this is Earth 1 or Fire 1. I can't really imagine it being anything else. It could be like Air 2, but that would be like, I think that would probably be like a little too aggressive. Could be. it is a step there on air, and then, yeah, just getting to step 9 on Earth. This somewhat decreases the incentive for cultists to take the 2-key town. Now, like, the 2 keys are the most important part, and the cult steps are the most important part of the 2-key town. But, like, as a very, very small consideration, it's kind of annoying for cultists to, like, waste a step, right? Like, if they take the 2-key town, then they only need 1 step to close out Earth, but now they have to, like, waste a step. We're going to see if that actually matters. One classic thing that happens in this matchup we're seeing now, which is that Cultist's Temple is basically stranded here. This is a very dig-expensive town. Now, you can make this town as Cultists, but in my experience, digging 3 times for 2 hexes with poor neighbors is, like, you get A3 as a neighbor, but you probably don't get B4. Not a very winning line. So we're going to see how Red Alert comes out of this. He has one obvious town, like with this bridge. He has, like, a rather suboptimal sanctuary town in the center as well. Yeah, not exactly clear, like, which way they'll prefer. Witches are offered 2 of the good economic tiles. Could choose this trading post tile to play, like, the goofy type of TP game that I was talking about, but I think that might be a misstep for Age. I also think that this dwelling might have been a misstep for Age. Passing early onto worker power and then getting the coins action, I think would have been incredibly strong. So in round 2, Hard Diggler doesn't have enough to take Double Spade. In fact, no one has enough to take Double Spade in round 2. And in fairness, like, people don't have, like, a lot of places to put them. Alchemists probably have the closest because they have shipping. So they can dig, like, U1, F4, or, like, A2, F4 or something. We may just see, like, a priest to a cult here. Get, like, the first priest to water, the first priest to fire, which comes with later rewards. It is the first priest to fire from Hard Diggler. I like that. I was wrong. Fatty does have enough to take the Double Spade, but Fatty also has no shipping and literally nowhere to Double Spade to. Fatty sent priest to air. Oh, okay, so that's how Fatty got that power. Red Alert immediately starts advancing ship. That is the right thing to do with cultists. Definitely seems to imply, like, a B7, E6. Like, this first ship advance doesn't really do anything. All these hexes involve digging. So this probably means B7 and E6 are coming. Hard Diggler's second action, or now it's Age's turn. Age just, is going to build more TPs. Age indeed is on the TP tile. Age could build out to all 4 TPs here. That would be, like, pretty interesting. Not sure if it's good, but it would be very interesting. It's also, I do think that it's a bummer for Age, though, because, like, you have so many options. You have, like, this great economic start. You are getting more economy, but then the lack of priest production, like, not getting this airspace as witches just feels really bad, in my opinion. This guy here gave you, like, a worker and maybe 8 points. Templing for air 2 gets you a spade, which is maybe worth 8 points on its own. Then there's this priest that he could have passed on to. Like, if you just pass on to the priest instead of the TP tile, you just send it to air, and you get this dig as well. Like, basically the thing is, like, if Age does make 2 more TPs, his worker situation isn't going to be that amazing anymore. Hard digging this might actually be, like, a little expensive next round, and we're going to see, like, how he plays out of that situation. It was a 2 workers action from Hard Diggler. Wonder if this means that we're going to see the stronghold here. It's not, like, immediately clear to me what these workers were for. Like, if they're for Hard Dig, that doesn't really make sense because the single spade was available. Now, the single spade isn't, like, a fantastic power action, but it's still, like, a very useful power action. Fatty took a priest power action, I believe. Fatty was, like, wanted to get this priest to air, but also wants to advance ship. So we're going to see Fatty build G5. Notably, Fatty chose to advance, is choosing this ship advance line instead of building the bridge. I'm not sure if I like that a lot because the bridge gets you tempo on this town in the town round. Now Fatty has kind of like created like this debt to himself where he needs to make this bridge like either later this round or next round, but then he bought this priest for shipping, which he won't immediately need. You know, like he could have just done this bridge, built here, done this, done this. We're gonna see how it goes. Red Alert, I think Red Alert would love like a little more leech to get that coins action. Red Alert should just advance ship here, in my opinion, then build B7, B6, and whenever Age like allows it, Red Alert can take this coins action. So I don't think it should be that concerning either way. Red Alert can just get is probably having the shortest round here and will just pass to get the coins action next round anyway. So in the chat we have a nice because Hard Diggler just I believe Hard Diggler just converted 20 points into coins. That's how this huge number arose. We're about to see if this is going to be a stronghold or if it's going to be another temple. There's no way that Alchemist should ever leave this trading post just up like this. I think that the correct read here is a stronghold because the stronghold actually immediately pays dividends in that it enables him to take a double spade. He could even stronghold build the dwelling and then not double spade, or just like take the double spade for next round, right? Just dig E1 black and A2 black, or get onto F4 or something. I think those are all great options for Hard Diggler over here. Red Alert did manage to get the coins, as we were saying. Age, very unfortunately, I believe that this is the result of doing. Yeah, Age had to convert a worker to a coin to do this. I mean, he's going to pass and he's going to be at 27 points. I don't think that this is like a particularly explosive Witches type of game. But it is very fun, so I do applaud Age for trying it out. Not sure if the right play here is going for, like, looking at Witch's game, right? They have a lot of coins, they have mediocre worker production. Passing for the big building tile is probably the best economic play for Age here. The priest doesn't do anything at this point. He doesn't have any cult aspirations, and advancing ship once does nothing either. So the big building tile is probably what I would go for, even if you don't build like your stronghold here. It does look like it's passing time. Fatty did advance ship, is going here, is digging here. That'll be Fatty's round. Might secure the bridge, might not. Entirely Fatty's decision on what to do there. Red Alert, so I guess part of what Red Alert was concerned about was that Red Alert actually didn't manage to get this air spade. That is a bit of a bummer after wasting 2 steps on air in round 1. That might have been a good case for, like, instead of, so I wasn't a huge fan of the Earth 1 here. Or like all the steps on Earth plus Earth 1 there. And I wasn't a huge fan of this priest either. Like, if this had somehow been like Earth 2, Air 2, or whatever, right, that could have been pretty cool. It does look at this point like there wasn't that much pressure on Earth 1 given what Age has chosen to do. Age was never taking Earth 1 around 1 anyway. Certainly not as witches, you know, like there are times when you want to take Earth 1 around 1. On Fire and Ice with witches with like this sort of explosive start, like it wasn't going to be Earth 1 like ever. Yeah, and with like this type of nice scoring track and stuff. So like Air 2 could have bought Cultist a spade here. I mean, they're not like dead because they don't have it or anything, but I can't imagine that this is like where Red Alert necessarily wanted to be. Now, Fatty does want shipping eventually, so I don't mind like what he's done here so much, but I do think that he might be happier off if he just had like a little more juice in the tank, as opposed to like having to take a bridge after having bought that priest. But I guess like next round, yeah, like next round he could just take a priest town anyway, right? Then advance his ship twice, because like he'll really be using that shipping next round when he wants to get to B5, maybe D4, maybe. I guess if he wants a 3 ship, then like you can justify this early sort of shipping line, and then get to G7, go through this. So this is what like I didn't really like, right? Fatty bought himself this priest advance, or this ship advance, by spending this priest, spending power for a priest, and building this, but then wound up having to secure the bridge anyway. This is just not like a great, it's just not great in my opinion, to have to like spend all that stuff just to do this. That could have been like a dig power action, right? I mean, I guess he doesn't need a spade power action because he has a cult spade. It's going to go on I4. Like he doesn't even use his shipping for the cult spade. Now, like there's nothing wrong with having shipping, right? Like shipping is like a good thing to have. And it's something that he will need eventually anyway. It just doesn't immediately pay dividends. That priest could actually have just gone to a cult, right? Could have taken like the 3 spot on water or something with that spade. It does look like Fatty is actually in a pretty strong position despite like all my comments though. Because Fatty is going to have the 2 key town, like no question. Fatty's network also looks pretty good unless cultists take this from him. But he did put himself in like this position to aggressively get shipping. If I were Fatty, I might consider going on to temp ship next round, so that you can get like B5 and A7 or something, with only 1 ship advance. Advancing ship twice next round will be kind of ugly for Fatty. He probably wants a 2 key town and not like a ship town, I think, in my opinion. So that would allow him to get to 3 ship and effectively get B5, A7, and G7, maybe even F2. We're going to see like what line he decides to take there. Matt has done things that I agree with, like this whole game. You know, he's taken this. He's digging early. He took the single spade instead of the double spade. It looks like. Yeah, he took the single spade instead of the double spade simply because. Oh, did he take another power action along the way? Because I like after building a stronghold, you always have enough power to take double spade. He must have taken another power along the way. Maybe the worker's action. Or he converted a power to a coin. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, he converted powers to a worker. That's understandable. Okay. He didn't get the worker's power action. He converted power to a worker in order so that he could build this when he dug it. Okay. That makes sense. We do see that like right now the map is kind of split. East belongs to cultists and west belongs to alchemists. That said, cultists have access to these browns up here if he can get there before alchemists decide to do their dig advances. Alchemists can try to bust through to here. I think that they're going to be able to take away either G8 to make a town like this, or G7. Chaos Magicians maybe get to G7 first, but this could mean that Chaos is losing all of these reds on this side of the map. Like this gray, this red, this red. Those are good for Chaos Magician's network, but if alchemists do have aims on taking G8 to form a town, then that's going to cut off Chaos Magician's natural reds. Might be kind of tough. Age is trying to decide which power action he wants. The double spade is actually very strong here. I think that the instinct is to just hammer coins, but double spade gets you D10 and A5. The bridge is necessary to get your town. This is the round where you would want your town. Age does take the coins, which means he may not get a town this round. That's kind of tough. It's a town round, you know? You do want towns here. He also didn't secure F5. Like, there was a world where he kind of got a town here, a town up here, and then like a town over here. But Alchemist should be able to get F5 now. I mean, the coins are always like a very strong action, so that's not too much issue there. Alchemists are going to drop their landscape here, presumably. Advance, dig, and ships. Save 2 priests seems pretty good. Cultists with their first action of the round didn't take a power action. Oh, they came all the way down here. Cultists are on temp ship. That's pretty nice. Cultists have not taken D4. I think that D4 could have been interesting for Cultists to get like this sort of A1, A2 access. That puts a lot of pressure on Alchemists and really like juices your own like sort of stuff. So it looks like it could be the case that the only town that's getting made this round is Chaos Magicians, and they're probably taking the 2-key town. Looks a little rough for Cultists right now. They're going to get a whole bunch of dwellings out, but next round is a dwelling scoring round, so that actually doesn't align great for them. Honestly, I might like it better if they were like securing Water 1 or something, or just like trying to build up, trying to make this town this round, and then worrying about that sort of expansion later. You know, they can kind of trusting that they'll still get some of the stuff. Alchemists, you know, they're done for now. They can't build all this stuff like that soon. Getting on D4 would have been nice to have this access. I mean, this is going to be good economically for Cultists, so like we can't hate that much, but you do kind of wonder like where is it going to come together? Like, are they going to score a lot of points here? Age does dig here. It looks like Age is going to get the leech to bridge, so that's pretty nice for him. I think that he may want to take a workers town, which would allow him to put his stronghold up. So he's going to be able to. So just to clarify, Age can take a bridge, then build a dwelling. He'll have 2 workers left. He'll be forming a town. That town could be a workers town, which would allow him to build a stronghold. He would get points from this tile, and the stronghold would allow him to get to F3 or D3, where he can start carving out another town. F3, you can make a town here. It's important because it's your connection hex, and against like, I mean, Chaos Magicians could be interested in this hex. It gives them easier access to the west. I guess D4 is just as good. Alchemists could just take this hex because it's hard diggler, and Alchemists have like good digging. They could just take away F3 to be jerks. But like basically, I think that there is good reason for witches to build their stronghold here and try to like start getting on like those greens before they all disappear. We're gonna see how Age sees it. Like, he might just prefer a priest town, just because like a priest town is more points, and he has 0 priest production if he builds a stronghold. Like a temple for Air 1 might be just as good as a stronghold, right? It looks like Earth 1 is no longer available, but Air 1, give 3 points like right away. Get priest production going, advance shit manually, and start heading here. I think I prefer like the stronghold line. It's just like this game has already gotten so weird for Age, like not going for a stronghold and then like coming out here to carve a town just feels like you might be leaving you might have gone too far not to like try a cool line like that at this point. Fatty finally finishes up his town over here. Oh, Hard Diggler, I guess we just saw him convert some power in order to build this dwelling. Seems good. You just want as many dwellings as you can as alchemists. Alchemists now have access to H8, assuming that cultists don't take it away. They very well could, right? Cultists would be totally justified in taking away H8 and making alchemists work for it. Fatty does take the Tukey town. Looks pretty bad for cultists to have invested this much into the Earth Cult and lose it. Still, I mean, their point situation is good, and you know, Fatty's already formed one of his towns, maybe his only town this game, right? It doesn't look like Chaos is another easy town. Could try shipping down here, but and Red Alert, you know, Red Alert's doing okay. He's going to get the coins action, and Red Alert didn't wind up building all the dwellings this round. Really wanted to pass on to the Spade and the 4 coins action or the 7 coins action, and honestly, I kind of like that because you're just gonna like he's starting to think about his scoring, right, as well. Like he could have built up his economy more with I9, but he's got lots of workers from Earth 2. He needs coins. So I think that I like the play. It is a game where like Age is going to be the only person interested in this tile, which is really nice. Age took a favor tile. It was Air 1 indeed. So he is not going to go for the stronghold line that I was suggesting. That means that this is probably going to be like a ship town or a priest town here, I would expect. But of course you don't know for sure. We might want to also start like keeping our eye out for the Water 1 race. I assume that Fatty is not going to build a TP here. Fatty probably wants to advance ship and get up to B5. But Fatty could be, you know, trying to read the room a little bit and being like, okay, when am I getting Water 1? Who's getting Water 1? Cultists next round have a lot of dwellings to build. I don't think that cultists should be prioritizing like a Sanctuary Water 1 type of play. So honestly, like there might not be that much pressure on it. Age is, of course, is like super ready to grab Water 1 whenever. But I think the right move for Fatty here is probably to just advance ship. Trust that cultists are not going to Water 1 block you for the hell of it. And yeah, just build like your dwellings. I think there's only one dwelling that can be built here, and it's here. Here's Age. I'm expecting this to be like a priest 8-pointer or a ship town. Those are probably the best towns available. It is a ship town. So he's continuing to play like heavily economic. Age gets some points back in this. We'll pass for 3, 42, get onto one of these points tiles. Preferably, like these points tiles are both going to be around 6 to 8 points, so either one should be fine for him. Fatty might be considering taking like a workers action or something so that he can. I'm not sure it makes sense for Fatty to do anything like other than that, but like one thing that Fatty can do, right, is take D4 with a single Spade action. Taking D4 means that you have access to Cult Spade more stuff than you did before. Like you know that cultists are probably, like looking at it now, right? At first I was talking about cultists like taking away this black and fighting alchemists, but in reality cultists are probably going to spade these 2 hexes, right? They want to be able to form like their bridge town. And it's dwellings for them to build on. Then they could like hard dig D4 themselves and then ship up here. That would be my expectation. There's this. Age is passing. I would probably take the TP tile here, but it might be the dwelling tile if Age wants to secure Water 1 next round. We'll see. So one of the risks from Age not taking the double spade last round was that A5 I mentioned might become under threat, and Chaos Magicians are not sure where they're going to place their Cult Spade. They have the access to just take this right now. They can just secure A5 right now. We will see where their Cult Spades go. Witches will have no Cult Spades. I wouldn't be shocked to see this guy turn red with a Cult Spade right now. Might be like A4 or A5 or something. Alchemists can triple dig. They do have slightly advanced digs, but it's going to be hard for them to like take away both of these. Witches don't have the power to double dig, don't even have the power to single dig, and don't have the workers to double dig this and put it down anything useful. So this might just be a lost town for witches if it does go down that way. Fatty puts the second dig on E7. I don't really understand, or Red Alert puts the second cultist dig on E7, which I don't particularly understand. I thought that B6 made more sense. I don't know if they're concerned about someone else touching that hex or something. Fatty very confidently just double spades over here, exactly as I talked about. This doesn't make it easier for like alchemists to like handle or anything, where that B4 is kind of neutral for alchemists. Coin's action from cultists makes, that's why they were passing so early. Makes a lot of sense. Alchemists, they're probably just going to advance digs here, I have to imagine. If they build on a natural black first, that also makes sense. But I am expecting dig advances to start up this turn, or this round. Age probably has to just give up on this hex, give up on this town. Indeed is just going to start shipping over here. Could take B4 actually. I think that a very sensible plan for Age might be B4, D3, F3 this turn. That would use up all of the witches, that would put down all the witches' dwellings, and it would use up all the witches' workers quite exactly. I think that would be a pretty nice type of round for Age. It blows up the Chaos Magician's town if Fatty doesn't secure this here. And it does look like Fatty failed to secure it, decided to build A4 first. We're going to see how that goes. I think that I might have built, I think that B4 might have been under more threat, but we're going to see if Age decides to be aggressive here. He might very well just not go with anything there. There's the dig advance from Alchemists. Age just decides to go on F3. Okay. I mean, that's fine. But I think that it could have been pretty fiery to go for B4. I think that Fatty is now going to clearly secure B4 with a hard dig. I think that blowing up Chaos Magicians' town would have been pretty interesting. Fatty is going to take away that opportunity now. Fatty had tempo on Matt on this hex, but he actually didn't have tempo versus Age. So by building A4 first, he could have lost B4 to Age, which he was not expecting that, but it could have happened. Hard Diggler takes the two workers. Makes a lot of sense. This is the digging, this is essentially his digging round, right? He's going to get out his last two dwellings via digs, not via shipping. There's just he could come down here for natural blacks, but what's the point of that? Next round, Hard Diggler is probably going to, the Sanctuary for Water 1 also is in the plans for Hard Diggler, and that looks like it'll just happen next round, pretty naturally. Though, I was saying that Red Alert didn't have the economy to take Water 1, but if he gets out of this round quickly enough, build, and then maybe hard dig D4 and build, then that sets him up to pass next round into maybe like an immediate water one or something. Oh, it doesn't have to be a hard dig. He has a spade tile. It does look so far like just playing economically is working out for cultists. Like they are going to be quite competitive on network and stuff. Fatty deciding to carve all this stuff may mean that his network isn't quite as amazing. I have to imagine that these hexes here are not really happening. Like he'll probably get G7, but not G8, and that'll be the end of these two natural reds. There's no more cult spades coming in, and Fatty won't have a lot of TPs on the board by the end of this round. It'll probably be like, you know, Sanctuary, Trading Post, and like Temple or something as like his bigger buildings out at the end of that round, and then he has a lot of other stuff to do. So I'm not sure about the network implications for Chaos, but I mean, Chaos is doing quite well in the cults, so maybe we don't need to worry too much about Fatty. Age, good amount of points. Might want to score in favor or something. Gonna get to 3 ship to build D3. I think this is, he might have just missed this, or like just didn't care as much, but I really do think that digging B4 to avoid like this nasty priest action would have been quite nice. Digging B4 means that you just get to D3 and F1 like with no effort, get F3 anyway, but you didn't really want F3 anyway if you had B4 and D3. Matt is like a pretty blocky player. I would be pretty surprised if he just like lets witches make this town over here. And it's like a lot of digs for that town too. Yeah, I'm not sure if witches have enough left, especially no Earth 1. But I mean, like, we don't know if Water 1 will go. Indeed, this hex goes. Fatty wasn't getting it to it in this round anyway. Doesn't have a priest to advance his shipping, but the network implications for Chaos Magicians aren't great here. Everyone's round still seems to have some stuff. It looks like Alchemist will probably be the first to pass here. That means that they get the first shot at a power action and the first shot at a pass tile. But given the situation that Alchemist's economy is in, which is quite strong, I think that Alchemist may forego taking a power action at the beginning of the next round, instead just open with the Sanctuary for Water 1. Lock up Water 1. Fatty almost definitely makes a TP here to have Tempo on Water 1 next round. I think Fatty might have this round as TP and a bridge. Cultist over here. So we see the reason why B6 didn't get dug. It's because Red Alert wanted to take this hex, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Red Alert decided to make this Sanctuary Town, which, I mean, it's defensible, but I really, really prefer building wide as cultists to building tall. Like, I7, like, I think that Red Alert had the right idea shipping, but he could have hit these hexes up here with a dig on D4. And, like, a cult spade on B6 means that you make this bridge town, like, without making big structures. You have 3 dwellings and, like, this and this. Like this E7 hex doesn't really do anything other than building next to a neighbor. And I mean, maybe that was like important enough. And like maybe you are like making your sanctuary anyway, so then you just do this. But the 2 spades spent here, that's where I'm a little iffy on it. If we count all the natural browns, like let's say that for some reason Hard Diggler lets him have A2, right? D4, A1, I9, those are the only natural browns left. Let's say he digs one more time to get down his landscape, and then digs one more time. Ends with 3 structures on board. I mean, that's certainly not going to be Alchemist in general. But, I mean, like, maybe this game you just don't need that much network to be Chaos at least. Chaos is also running out of hexes, right? So yeah, there's the TP that we expected from Fatty. Fatty's going to bridge as well, and then pass, and then be in position to just snag water 1 whenever. Alchemists decide to take this hex to wrap up their town. I like that a lot. I like the shape of this town. It looks very cool. It's got this little thing that looks like a monocle, this landscape. So that's a cool town for alchemists. So yeah, I kind of expect alchemists next round to just like, they're just going to open with water 1. I can't imagine that like taking a coins action or like a worker's action would be more important than water 1 for alchemists next round. Age did eventually get to D3 after upping shift to 3. Probably is building F1 now, or deciding between F1 and D2. I think the safer play is just to build F1, but there's also no real point in playing overly safe for Age at this point, because like if you play it safe, you're just going to lose, right? Like you don't have the points to be playing safe now. It would be a hard dig to build D2, and then you can't even secure C1. That's the issue. He's wasted too many dwellings in other spots. Yeah, tough spot to be in. Age decides not even to like bother. Wants the TP pass tile. Don't love this, honestly. I think the right move next round is to build a temple for water 1, which means that he'll only have 2 TPs up. And he builds a 3rd TP, then that's like a waste of this final round scoring. So like, I think that it was correct in Age's spot to like build another dwelling there. Maybe even put a dwelling on F1 and then like a trading post on D3, right? That improves his economy, uses the dwelling round, and uses this tile better, even if he doesn't put up that TP. Building that TP also makes it better to pass on this later. I mean, I don't know what's going through Age's mind right now. Maybe he just also thinks that passing early is important so that he gets water 1 to begin with. I'm not sure I understand Fatty's play here. Fatty took a temple for, like, locking up water 1 makes sense, but it was water 2? Oh, I guess water 2 makes a lot of sense because it allows Fatty to just close out Earth. It allows Fatty to get like this extra step on fire. Besides close out Earth, it's like a pretty good move. Don't know if I would have done it because now he actually overflows on power, but I guess like the step on fire also overflows on power, so should be fine. Fatty is definitely like making the call right here that like the key to winning this game is to play culty. I guess it was also possibly in response to the fact that Matt took this bridge, which I hadn't seen. All right, Age should not pass for water 1. If Age does lose out on water 1 here, then, well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. There's the sanctuary for water 1 from cultists. Certainly this is water 1, right? Age declines leech. Can no longer really take it very efficiently. Hard Diggler must be going for water 1 here as well. Can't take a power action anyway. Yep, here's water 1. Age presumably declines this leech as well. Fatty probably just takes the bridge first. remove that pressure from your game. Fatty will probably just make like a few TPs, a few dwellings this round. Maybe advance ship again. Fatty probably wants to pass first here. If I were Fatty, I would probably want to pass first, because that gets you onto the big building tile, lets you take the coins. If you take the coins, then it doesn't matter that you don't have TPs yet, right? And it also puts you in position to maybe advance your digs to get those final dwellings out. Like advancing digs makes it easier to get like D4 and B2 and B1, you know, like, and G3, F2, like, etc. Don't know if that's on Fatty's mind right now, but we'll see. There's also an argument for Fatty to make his stronghold here to complete his town. Then with the stronghold, you pass for this guy. That's 9 points better. You hope that you still get the coins action in that case. Like, maybe you can't get the coins action if you spend that much of your power on the stronghold, but it's an interesting possibility. If I were to pick one person who's winning right now, might be, I mean, alchemists seem to have had like the most stuff just like go right for them. But even so, like, alchemist's game is just, you know, like, on this map, they're just kind of an underwhelming faction. Cultists don't seem, wow, cultists pass just like that. So cultists, yeah, I guess that seems entirely fine for cultists. Bold move by Red Alert. He gets himself the coins action. He's going to have 1 million workers. He's going to have 22 workers. Fatty says, we'll wake you up when the round ends. Yeah. This, like, age clearly has a lot to do with all these resources still. But that said, like, we could see another early pass when someone values this tile a lot. Hard Diggler built the TP. So I guess this TP is okay, right? Because if you're alchemists, then literally coins are victory points. That dwelling was generating no worker income. So converting this guy to 2 coins and a power is like converting it to 2 victory points and 1 power, and 1 power might be worth a victory point. So I don't mind that TP at all. What I'm curious about is if we're going to see a second TP here, which I don't think would necessarily be correct, but which would be important in terms of fighting network, because it could be the case that alchemists are not a shoo-in to beat cultists on network. I was originally thinking that witches should have network very cleanly, even like witches should be in contention with alchemists, but questioning that now. Age doesn't seem to have like the priest income to justify dig advances, so he can be very easily messed with if he loses his natural greens. I guess he's got F1, H2, and I3 left, right? That would bring him down to 4 structures remaining. Like, basically, I'm thinking that he's going to get this, maybe dig once, and then get this. The question is, can he get D2, C1? I guess he can, right? Matt is going to run out of stuff. Yeah, Age is going to challenge Matt right here. We're going to see if Matt decides to let him have this hex. I'm kind of doubtful that he could / should, but Matt just takes workers. Okay. Oh, but Age still needs to build a TP in order to get C1. Yeah. Is Age willing to build a TP here? I mean, I guess it's only like 2 points worse than like building here, but moment of truth on C1. think it totally makes sense to take that away, actually. Like, I'm not really sure. Yeah, takes away C1. Like, this is like part of Matt's town anyway, so it's like not too surprising that we see this. Matt didn't particularly want to build this trading post. It kind of, like, it would have brought him down to only 7 worker income. So this is like that's pretty tough for Age, in my opinion. I mean, he knew that was coming, but it's still pretty tough. Age, I assume, builds F1 here, and then maybe temples. It does look like Age is going to be able to get down everything except for the 2 big buildings. I assume that that's what we're going to see happen here. There is a world, I suppose, in which he goes stronghold, trading post, and then builds this. And then we'll end the game with like a sanctuary and a temple on his board. Could work. Like a temple now certainly doesn't do him any good. Well, okay. Spoke way too soon, apparently. So it's going to be trading post dwelling, probably. Oh, it's fire too. Now that's interesting. So Age still does have dreams of making a town. That fire too isn't blocking anyone. So, right, because like chaos magicians certainly don't need fire too. Alchemists, like, unless they have some bizarre dreams of a 3rd town involving like a million digs, then they don't have dreams of fire too as well. So Age actually thinks this fire too will help him. I guess it means that like we're going to see a triple dig on one of these hexes. D1. This also does represent priest income. So the priest income might mean that Age does have dig advanced dreams in his mind, but I don't see where he's going to get the coins for that. It's going to be like trading post D3, then build F1. Maybe this is just turning into a sanctuary. Sanctuary would make this make sense, right? This is a sanctuary scoring round. Matt has a spade in hand, but should probably just pass here. Settle for ending the game with 3 temples on the board. Just don't fight like too hard for that. Cultists probably end with stronghold, 2 temples on the board or something like that. Matt does decide to pass and take the points. Fatty locked out these 2 contested cults. Probably will lose water to the cultists, but that should probably be fine for him. Is set up to take a town early next round. We're going to see if this is actually going to be the stronghold. I think it's pretty justifiable to build a stronghold here, Fatty. Matt did indeed leave this spade unused, but he did dig this game, so he's commenting on that fact and saying that he has an excuse if he loses by 1 worker's worth. Good to know. And Age does have points. This is the sanctuary, and it is water 3. Okay. Yeah, that's just like a thing that you can do. Like, it is technically a legal thing. And he does have the most victory points right now. He's going to pass for 9. So you'll have 74. And then he'll pass for the spade, which will allow him to dig D1 and then triple dig, build a TP, build a dwelling. Seems a little underwhelming, especially now that that temple means that, like, upgrading the temple to a sanctuary means that he no longer has 2 temples, which means no more drop in the landscape for network points. So, yeah, I'm skeptical about this. Hard Diggler is at 4 power here, which is interesting. Like, not leaving himself open to this, which means that he does want a power action. It'll probably be the 2 workers, just to ensure, like, I imagine that this will be like a worker town, this will be a worker town or something. There's a temple for Air 1 dreams, probably. Yeah, it's going to be like temple or trading post worker town, temple Air 1, trading post worker town, 2 more trading posts, a bunch more dwellings. Hopefully like as cheaply dug as possible for Matt. If Age does care about network, which it's not clear, he might go here. Because this is a hex that that alchemists actually want to access H1. G1 is so much more expensive to dig than H1. Okay, we're finally into this round. Fatty did indeed go for the stronghold and took a coin town and upped shipping. Fatty's economy is, guys, this is not what you call a balanced economy, but it is fun. Indeed, it goes coins and then workers. That was what Matt was thinking. There's no pressure on Air 1 for Matt. Fatty would need to, well, Fatty can take a double turn, right, to get Air 1. Age is going digging. This is a little unfortunate for Age, because he doesn't have the coins to advance digging again and still build a dwelling and build a trading post. This is probably going to be Age using a spade now on a partially, oh, sorry, well, what am I saying? Age fully advanced digging. Okay, so we're good. That means Age does have the stuff to make this town. That's cool. So Age will end up with 4 structures on his board, I guess. Unless there's another temple coming in. Though it's kind of hard to see that coming, right? Like, a little hard to see Age getting another temple given all this. It would involve taking kind of a worse town than like the 8-pointer or the 9-pointer or the 11-pointer. This is probably the correct hex to take for Age. It hurts cultists. It also kind of hurts Chaos Magicians, but I mean, Chaos Magicians have 3 hexes to connect on. It's entirely fine for that, but Fatty does need to get some leech to build his TPs as well as he wants. If I had to like hazard a guess, I would assume that Fatty is coming in last in network. A little unfortunate given like how many dwellings he managed to get out early, but because of like building up so much, he just didn't leave himself like without building TPs. Building up without building TPs means that you really don't have like the coins to make TPs and dwellings in the final round, even with this coin town. There's the 11-point town. Makes sense. I was talking about the workers town, but obviously the 11-pointer is quite good too. You don't want to be like left in the dust, though. I mean, that said, like there's a lot of good towns left, right? Like 8-pointers are like pretty good. I guess 8-pointers have less value here because so many of the cults are not really contestable anymore. Age decides to leave D4 open. Don't know if I love that because this is good for cultists, like quite good for cultists that this hex is still open. But I mean, it's also like whatever, right? Like you avoid giving cultists this leech, but in reality, I think that cultists would rather be able to build on this hex still, so that they can access these natural browns. We don't know how alchemists will feel about digging all of these when they have a lot of other dreams to reach like natural blacks or whatever. This chaos portal continues to sit on F2. There are 3 possible ways to connect from there. I'm going to see if Fatty actually even cares about that. Given that right now, well, he's going to build all of these TPs, and then he's going to have 5 dwellings on his board. So that'd be 7 structures remaining after building the TPs. But he doesn't have like the money right now for all those TPs, right? Like he has like 7 money once he does this. Let's call it 9. If he gets some leech, he'll have 9 coins. But then once he builds all these TPs, he's going to have 0 coins. He'll have like 11 workers and no coins. That's enough for like 2 dwellings maybe. Connection might not be that important because he'll have 5 structures left on his board. At this point, it does seem like Fatty might have won. Even with no network points, like being on this tile, having water 1, making that many more trading posts, not taking any negative victory points, which Matt is going to do, and most importantly, winning all these cults. Like the 28 to 32 endgame points, I think, are going to be pretty key here, regardless of the network fight. We see the other coin town go to cultists. Red alert, like anytime that you see someone take a coin town in the final round, it really says we still got a lot of shit to do. And that is how Red Alert feels here. He wants to build out like all of his stuff if he can. So far, alchemists have been pretty understanding, but I have to imagine that like we're getting to the point where alchemists are going to take away these browns. Like it's becoming clear that cultists are like the network threat if there is a network threat. There's not too much that alchemists can do about which is here, here, and here yet. You got to imagine that these browns are disappearing once Red Alert comes here. Without Air 1, I think that we might be able to write off cultists from like winning this game outright. It's a little dangerous to do, but like they have like okay cults, but not spectacular cults. They also have just fewer points than Alchemists currently. Granted, like they have a lot more stuff to do left. They might like get a similar number of points to Alchemists throughout the rest of the game. Alchemists are going to pass for more. Well, Alchemists took this priest town. They're going to get like a net of +3 per trading post here. They did take Air 1. So Alchemists are passing for 12. So they're at like 102. They're going to get like 2 points per TP. we can count their dwellings as 0. Yep, here comes the cultists. This was, again, like, this was quite generous of alchemists to, like, leave both of these hexes. Because now they can only take away 1, right? Like, certainly Matt responds now by, like, taking A2 or A1. Probably A2, so that cultists have no neighbor to build on when they build A1. And personally, I'm always building A2 here. You're in a network fight, right? You want to give as few possible, like, natural hexes to your opponents as you can. Matt is going for G4. This is welcome news to Fatty, who wants that leech. Wants every drop of leech you can get right now, right? Because coins are just... Age took the worker town. Worker town. I assume that what's left for Age here is dwelling. He's 1 leech short right now. Ooh. I think that might have been a misstep from Age. I think that if Age had templed for air 3 or water 2, that he had the ability, like that, the power gained from going up the track would have been enough to put this down and then still dig this out. Now Age needs a 2-for-1 in order to build a temple. I think that was a big mistake from Age. And I think that if he thinks about it, then he would probably like that move back. We're thinking here, like, I'm talking about, like, Age getting his landscape out, right? Like, if he had templed for air 3, then he would have just, like, a little extra stuff in his like, bag of tricks or whatever. He would have a little bit of extra power, and the power is basically a coin. That coin allows you to put down this dwelling. You know, he would basically have 1 more coin than now after building with a temple. Then he gets this, and then he's down to 3 structures. Instead, he's at 4. Don't know if that's going to make a huge difference for Age, but it will have an impact on the network race. Like, I think that he was beating cultists in network before that, and now he's probably no longer. Age declined leech, but yeah, Matt accepted leech. He's asking in the chat about what happened there. I mean, to me, it still looks vaguely like Fatty is winning. But it is a little hard to tell because Red Alert just had so much stuff left to do. And, like, Matt is carving this, which I guess is the cheapest way to, like, build out stuff, but I'm pretty surprised that he's not going after these hexes up here. But I guess it's fine, right? Like, he's going to win network at this point. Without having to block. But, like, being able to get, yeah, it looks like this is going to be a tie for second on network for cultists, maybe even second outright. If he manages to get this, and this. Oh no, never mind. It should probably just be tied for second, if that. Yeah, we're gonna see. Age's game looks done. I don't think that building a temple here makes any sense for Age because the temple is not going to give 2 points back. Air 3, Cultist will just send Priest to Air. Water 2 does nothing. Earth 3, I guess, could protect like 2 points. Matt could temple for Earth 3 or like send Priest to Earth or something, but that's like whatever. wonder if Matt is actually trying to make a town here. Like, let's just count theoretically how many workers that would be, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Matt actually already has the stuff to build another town here. Oh, no, but he doesn't have fire too. So there's no way this could ever be a town. He already took a worker's action, so there's no like efficient way to like get, yeah, like anything useful there. Yep, age passes. Age is saying that he kind of punted this one out the window. I mostly agree with that. Yeah, I think that there were like, the town round, he could have secured this hex. I think that was like a fun, like I think he tried like some fun stuff, right? Like building all those trading posts was fun, but it didn't really work out strategically speaking. Taking d6 like also didn't work out. I was saying that he could have dug a5 and e5 instead of d6 and e5. I thought that was kind of interesting because like it puts like this weird amount of pressure on alchemists, right? But like alchemists really didn't care about that. Like they were never making a town here, and they're always getting to 3 ship. So it's like, so yeah, d6, like it got him a lot of leech, but then he didn't get earth 1 or water 1. So like building stuff didn't particularly score that well for him, unless he built it in the right round / passed for it. I would say that like probably if there is a blunder to point to, like outside of like the like big picture game plan, it would probably be missing out on building this landscape. Because he did have a chance to build a landscape if he didn't if he built a temple before he built the dwelling. But it probably won't matter too much here. This looks like maybe 6 network points or 9 network points. So let's call it 9 network points, 2 resource points, 109. I don't think that these cults will hold, but 115. Matt here, 1 more trading post, 2 more dwellings. Probably not going to result in many more points than like 100. Let's say it's like 100 points from like doing that stuff. Then passes for 12 is first on net, so that's 112. First on network 130. Let's call it like 4 points on. Actually, let's just call it like 2 points here, 132. Cultists are going to have, let's say it's second in network. They have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points left here, so 95. 95 plus 20 on the cults, 115. Plus second on network, 127. But they have enough stuff left to like also do a dig advance, maybe 133. Maybe like mid 130s. Probably beating alchemists in that case, if they are indeed second on network. Red Alert probably trying to figure out if he can afford. I would be, if I were Red Alert, I would be trying to figure out if I could afford dig advances after I secured A1. But again, Matt has been like surprisingly non-diggy this game, in a game where I really think that like taking away A1 and A2 is like a good idea. Like just throw like one, like dig A2 or something, right? This allows, I guess, Matt to be like a little more competitive with witches on the cults, but competing with witches on the cults, like you're already beating witches. You really want to fight cultists here, in my opinion. Because yeah, it does look like cultists are going to be beating alchemists overall this game. The 20 cult points is not like ideal, but like to do that with so little committed to the cults is really nice. They didn't take a cult town. They didn't take the 2-key town or anything. They just let Chaos like beat them on their most invested cult, and they're still going to come out with extra cult points. That's nice. Fatty is going to pass for 12. Get 0 on network, so that's 114. Let's call it 0 resource points, so that's 114 plus 28, that's 142. So it is between Chaos and cultists. Again, cultist points are just like not transparent because they have so many still hidden. It's very hard to say. We're going to see how hard Red Alert decides to fight network here. He should certainly secure A1 first, though. There shouldn't be like a lot of thinking on this decision. But my guess is probably that the best play for Red Alert is build A1, advance digs twice, send a priest to air, then dig down. I guess advancing digs. Yeah, advance digs twice, send priest to air, build a dwelling, and then dig down your landscape. And with 3 structures for 12 network. Matt is going to use all of his priests as workers. And end with 0 workers, so it is possible that he just never had the stuff to mess with cultists here. If he wanted to get down this low, it's possible. Let's say that Red Alert does what I say. Gets 4 Earth 1 points, 12 dig advance points, that's 16. And passes for 4, that's 20. That's 111. 111 plus 20 plus 12, that's 143. That would put him 1 ahead of Fatty. So I think Red Alert might have this game, despite all my, well, I guess like I was considering that he was going to lose these hexes up here, but the fact that he's not losing them, I think might be winning him this game. Yeah. Getting away with those hexes might be the difference this game. There's quite a lot of thinking here. I feel like A1 seems kind of obvious to me, but maybe I'm missing something here. It is a stronghold. Okay. So Red Alert is giving up on the network race, anticipating that this will bring out more points. Admittedly, I didn't calculate this possibility because the next TP will be another 6 points. So that's going to be 104. Then some stuff left, a ship advance, I guess. 108. And then a resource point left, 105. Pass for 8, 113. 20 points in the end game here, 133. That can't be correct, I think. Well, we're gonna see if this is a TP or if it's more dwellings. It's probably correct for it to be more dwellings because giving Fatty network points seems clearly wrong to me. This just says that Fatty wins, right? Yeah, I have to imagine that this is not correct to build a stronghold instead of competing for network. Unless I did something wrong with my math. I could have done something wrong with my math there. But this looks like a mid-high 130s game, which is not where, which I had like 143 or something without the stronghold. Oh, hold on. Yeah, the ship advance. I guess it's 3 network points with a ship advance and a dwelling. not enough stuff for ship advance and a dwelling. I guess it's either ship advance or dwelling at this point. Probably the dwelling first. I don't know what to make of this. A lot of decisions I wouldn't have made here. Especially because I think that Cultists had it, actually. I really think that Cultists actually had this game. With 2 ship advances, a dwelling, like these dwellings, and not going for the stronghold in the TP. Like, the extra network points were just so much, in my opinion. And now, like, giving network points to Fatty is certainly going to be game losing. This still should be ahead of Alchemist, I think. Matt saw what Cultists were up to and realized that he didn't have to compete for network anymore. So Matt is going to end with 101 plus 12. Or this is actually only 11 now. 101, 112, 130, 130, 132, 133. Cultists still, Cultists will still beat Alchemists, but I think that they were supposed to be Chaos Magicians as well, if they had just fought harder on Network. But, oh well. Interesting game, definitely. See the decisions that people made. Yeah, 116, that's 130, 136, right? Oh, Fatty only has that 130. No, 138 plus 6, 144, yeah. So yeah, I think that Alchemist, like, the fewest things kind of went wrong with their game, but they just had such like a low floor / like lower ceiling. Like, it was never going to end up that well for them, despite all this. I think Witches did kind of kick away like a very winnable type of game due to like choosing temp ship to open and then kind of like turning around to like losing a lot of like their accrued economic advantage in round 2, I guess. But it was an interesting game. Like, they could have also taken Water 1 or something. Could have gotten to 15 on Network, though it looks like it didn't really matter because Cultists like didn't compete on Network, and Alchemist could have beaten them on Network anyway. So yeah, like losing this town, big point for Witches. And yeah, like too many trading posts and not enough scoring favors, another issue for Witches. Chaos Magicians, like, like their game plan went off fine. They got the 2-key town in the town round. They closed 3 of the cults. They built a lot of TPs, and they got the 2 basic scoring favors that they needed. So that was that. Well, that's about it. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm just going to go chat a little bit, and I'll see y'all later.